Good morning, students. This is your sixth lecture of pharmacology and toxicology. Today's topic is drugs action on central nervous system. So, starting with the lecture, first of all, we will see what are NSAIDs. Those are non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Now, coming to the definition, non-narcotic analgesics are the drugs which remove pain and do not cause sedation. Therefore, these drugs do not depress central nervous system. Okay, these drugs, in addition to the analgesic effect, have antipyretic and anti-inflammatory properties. These drugs are named as analgesic antipyretic drugs. So basically these drugs are non-narcotic, means they are not habit forming, or and also they are not acting on central nervous system CNS, and still these drugs can pain remove pain and do not cause sedation. Why sedation is not caused? As these drugs are not acting on central nervous system. Okay, so further, these are also known as non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs, antipyretics, or these are also called antipyretics. And what is pyrexia? Pyrexia is increasing the temperature of body due to any sort of infection. In layman language, we call it fever. So pyrexia is fever, and antipyretics are the drugs which are given to overcome that increased temperature. Okay, these are the drugs which reduced elevated body temperature. Anti-inflammatory drugs, now these are the actions which these NSAIDs show. Okay, anti-inflammatory drugs, these are the drugs which produce symptomatic relief from inflammation, swelling, along with relief from pain. Now next is NSAIDs relieve dull aching pain or of low intensity. They are not used in visceral pain. The aching pain of the NSAIDs based on the chemical structures are classified as below. Now we will see the classification of NSAIDs. First of all, we have salicylates, in which we have aspirin, sodium salicylate, methyl salicylate. Next is para-amino phenol derivatives, paracetamol and phenacetin. Okay, now next is pyrazolam derivatives. In that we have phenylbutazone and oxyphenylbutazone. Next is fourth category is anthranilic acid derivative, in which we have mefenamic acid. Next is propionic acid derivative, in which we have ibuprofen, ketoprofen and norfloxacin. Next we have oxycam derivative, peroxycam. Seventh we have indole acetic acid derivative, in which we have indomethacin. Okay, idomethacin. Next we have miscellaneous category, in which we have diclofenac sodium. Now first of all, going in detail explanation about salicylates. In that we will see the pharmacological actions of salicylates. Now what we had in salicylates? Basically the aspirin. Okay, aspirin category. Salicylates lower elevated temperature. First of all, we have antipyretic action. Okay, in that salicylates lower elevated temperature. They do not lower the normal temperature of the body. They bring down elevated temperature to normal body temperature by following mechanism. Salicylates produce sweating, due to which the elevated body temperature is lowered. Okay, so if the temperature has been raised from normal, it will bring the elevated temperature to the normal level, but it will not decrease from the normal levels. Okay, how it do it? By increasing the sweating of body. Next is the hypothalamic heat regulating center is set for high temperature in the fever. The salicylates reset hypothalamic center to lower the elevated temperature to normal body temperature. Okay, so second effect is they act on the hypothalamic center and reset it for lowering the temperature. Next is anti-inflammatory and anti-rheumatic effect. Salicylates have powerful anti-rheumatic effect. This effect is produced by reducing inflammation and pain in joints. Next is analgesic action. Salicylates do not relieve severe pain. They act by inhibiting pain sensation in the thalamus. They do not change emotional reaction of pain. Mm, Salicylates are effective only in dull pain of low intensity. Next is action on respiratory system. The salicylates stimulate uh, stimulates respiration by directly stimulating respiratory system and indirectly through carbon dioxide reducing and increased oxygen utilization by skeletal muscles. Now coming to fifth point, that is action on blood. Salicylates lower erythrocytic sedimentation rate ESR, which is raised in rheumatic fever. The salicylates lower thrombin plasma level. Okay. Now coming to action on skin, that is salicylates, methyl salicylate and salicylic acid have fungistatic, keratolytic and antiseptic effect and are used locally for treatment of skin infections and diseases. Okay, so due to any of these three conditions or any other condition, if we have inflammation on skin, it can be treated by salicylates. Coming to uric effect. Salicylates increase the excretion of uric acid. The salicylate action on uric acid depends upon the dose of salicylates. Salicylates in a dose of 3 gram per day block tubular secretion of uric acid and it raises blood uric acid level. In 5 gram or above daily dose, it prevents reabsorption of uric acid and increases its excretion. In higher doses, salicylates act on uric and in low doses cause retention of uric acid. Okay, so next is action on cardiovascular system. Normal dose of salicylates have no effect on heart. In higher doses cause paralysis and of vasomotor center. Okay, so coming to immunological effect, salicylates inhibit the antigen antibody reaction and prevent release of histamine. Sorry. Next is action on gastrointestinal tract. When administered or taken by patient empty stomach, salicylates can cause gastric ulceration and intestinal bleeding. Salicylates produce nausea and vomiting due to stimulation of CTZ zone. And what is CTZ zone? That is chemoreceptor trigger zone. Okay. Now next point is action of endocrine glands. So action on endocrine glands. Salicylates activate release of adrenaline from adrenal medulla, also stimulate release of adrenocorticoid and adrenocorticotropic hormone, that is also known as ACTH. The salicylate interferes with the binding of thyroxine with plasma proteins, and we know that if thyroxine is not binded to plasma proteins, the free thyroxine, what will it do? It will depress the stimulation of TSH hormone. And what is TSH hormone? Thyroid stimulating hormone. And due to that, the production of T3 and T4 would be decreased. So coming to salicylates produce, next is salicylates produce hyperglycemia and glycosuria. Okay, now coming to adverse effects of salicylates. Salicylates cause gastrointestinal disturbance like nausea, vomiting, ulceration, perforation, and gastric hemorrhages. Cause bone marrow depression leading to aplastic anemia, uh, agranulocytosis. Intolerance leads to rash, urticaria. In large doses, salicylation is developed, characterized by lethargy, confusion, tetanus, hearing loss, headache. As salicylates increase breakdown of fatty acids, there is fatty infiltration of liver and kidneys. Okay, so these are some side effects of salicylates. Now coming to uses of salicylates. It is used as antipyretic in case of pyrexia or in case of fever, as an analgesic used to alleviate mild pain to moderate pain. Salicylates are used as anti-rheumatic drugs, also used locally as fungistatic, karyolytic, and antiseptic. Methyl salicylate and salicylic acid are used in ointment for local application to skin. Okay. Now coming to particular drugs which comes under this category. First is aspirin. Aspirin is chemically known as acetyl salicylic acid. It is odorless, colorless, white crystalline powder with slight acid taste. It is soluble water. Aspirin is used in the treatment of acute and chronic rheumatoid arthritis. Aspirin should not be given to children under 1 year age except under medical supervision. If under some circumstances it it is administered. Okay, in some cases we can administer it. Aspirin should not be administered in combination with anticoagulant drugs. Okay, why? Because action of aspirin is cause it is see the action it is what is the side effect of aspirin? That it increases the bleeding time. Okay, so what will happen if aspirin is given with anticoagulant drugs? What will happen? It will cause more bleeding. Okay, so it will cause that action would be doubled. Okay, so that's why this action we should not give aspirin with anticoagulant drugs. It may increase risk of hemorrhage. Okay, aspirin increases toxicity of methotrexate, reduces uric action of probenecid with probenecid with aspirin. Platelet activation is a key step in acute arterial thrombosis. Okay, so these are some contraindications of aspirin. Now coming to mechanism of action. Aspirin decreases platelet aggregation. It blocks pain impulses in central nervous system. The antipyretic action is resulted by vasodilation of peripheral vessels. It inhibits prostaglandin synthesis. Okay, now why prostaglandins are used? These are used to start or initiate the in action of means pain synthesis. Basically, the stimulations of pain starts from the prostaglandins. Okay, when prostaglandins get activated, then only impulses are generated. But what aspirin do? They block the prostaglandins. Coming to pharmacokinetics of aspirin, orally onset 15 to 30 minutes, peak concentration 1 to 2 hours, during 4 to 6 hours, um, duration is 4 to 6 hours. Metabolized by liver, excreted by kidneys, crosses placenta, excreted in breast milk. Plasma half-life 2 to 4 hours. Contraindication: hypersensitivity to salicylates, GI, bleeding, pregnancy, lactation, uric acids, peptic ulcers, asthma, liver disease. Over here we have to understand that why it is contraindicated in peptic ulcers, or why it cause ulceration of in stomach. Because the lining of stomach is a mucosal lining, okay, and that mucosal lining is also formed due to prostaglandins, okay. But when salicylates are inhibit prostaglandins, it also inhibits, due to that the mucous membrane lining which protect the stomach, protect the interior of stomach from HCl action, okay, hydrochloric action, okay, that is destroyed. That mucous membrane is destroyed, it is not formed due to blockage of prostaglandins, and hence that ulceration is started in stomach. Okay, this was the important point to understand over here. Now coming to drug interactions, antacids, urinary alkalizers, steroids decreases the effect of aspirin, toxic effect of sulfonamides, furosemide increases, there is decreased blood sugar level by salicylates. Now coming to second, that is para aminophenol derivatives, that is paracetamol. It belongs to group para aminophenol derivatives. It is an analgesic and antipyretic action, and has antipyretic action. See, when we are talking about competitive exams, or a question that can be asked asked many times, children mainly gets confused that paracetamol is an anti-inflammatory drug, but no, it does not have anti-inflammatory drug. In fact, it has two actions, that is analgesic. It is an analgesic, means it relieves pain, and it is antipyretic drug. It is not anti-inflammatory, okay. So it does not have anti-inflammatory and uric effect. It produces mild drowsiness and impairment of concentration. Paracetamol is used an analgesic and antipyretic drug. It is an odorless white crystalline powder having bitter taste. It is soluble in water. In small doses, paracetamol is rapidly and completely absorbed, whereas absorption of higher doses varies. It is also known as acetaminophen. It does not stimulate respiration and does not alter acid base balance. Okay. Coming to pharmacokinetic data, that is onset action is 10 to 30 minutes, peak concentration is 10 to 2 hours, duration of action 3 to 4 hours, okay. Plasma half life is 4 to 5 hours, crosses placenta, excreted in breast milk, excreted in urine. Side effects: vomiting, nausea, hepatotoxicity, rashes, urticaria, angioedema, drowsiness, anaphylaxis, cyanosis, anemia, jaundice, convulsions, coma, death, and purpura. Next is drug interactions. Paracetamol with alcohol, it has drug interaction. It shows drug interaction. There are increased chances of hepatotoxicity. The effect of chloramphenicol is increased. Severe hypothermia with phenothiazines. Okay. Now contraindications of paracetamol: hypersensitivity, alcohol, and saccharin. Next is we have paratholone derivative, that is phenyl butazone. It is administered by oral and parenteral route. It is well absorbed orally. It is highly plasma protein bound. It is converted into a active metabolite oxyphen butazone by oxidation in liver. Its analgesic antipyretic action is less than salicylates. Its side effects are phenylbutazone is has uric action and has sodium retention effect. It blocks iodine uptake by thyroid and number of other intracellular enzyme processes, due to which edema is developed. Rashes, gastric upset, mouth ulceration, hematemesis, and melena, neurotoxicity, bone marrow depression. These type of side effects may be seen. Over here, melena means when blood comes with stools, and the stools appear as brownish or blackish in color. And hematemesis, uh, this is when blood comes in vomiting. Now coming to mefenamic acid, it is a derivative of anthracnolic acid. It is a weak anti-inflammatory effect. In mefenamic acid exert peripheral as well as central analgesic action. It is used as antipyretic, analgesic, and anti-inflammatory drug. Pharmacokinetics: orally absorption is slow, metabolized by liver, excreted in urine, plasma, half-life 2 to 4 hours. Uses: joints pain, myalgia, soft tissue pain, antipyrectic, uh, dysmenorrhea, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. Side effects: diarrhea, epigastric, skin rashes, hematolytic anemia, dizziness, hematolytic anemia. Okay, that was repeated, I guess. Drug interactions: increased effect of oral anticoagulants, contraindication: hypersensitivity, epilepsy, pregnancy, lactation. These are the. Now coming next, that is aryl acetic derivatives. Okay, so drugs, the aryl acetic derivatives includes the following: diclofenac, sodium. So it is a NSAID, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. It acts as an antipyretic, analgesic, and and anti-inflammatory drug. It is well absorbed when administered orally. It is an inhibitor of prostaglandin synthesis. Again, it has a powerful anti-inflammatory action besides its analgesic and antipyretic action. Now coming to pharmacokinetics: onset action orally 5 to 30 minutes, peak concentration 2 to 3 hours, plasma half-life 1 to 2 hours, metabolized in liver, excreted in urine. Causes: acute musculoskeletal disorders, sprains, brucitis, tendinitis, periarthritis, frozen shoulder, primary dysmenorrhea, low back pain, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, tenosynovitis, post-operative painful conditions, dental surgery, pains in gynecological, painful anti-inflammatory conditions. Okay, now coming to side effects: blood discresis, epistaxis, hearing loss, blurred vision, neurotoxicity, dysuria, uh, hematuria, uremia, purpura, rash, sweating, erythema, alopecia, vomiting, nausea, anorexia, jaundice, cramps, dry mouth. These all are the side effects. Drug interactions: so diclofenac decreases anti-hypertensive actions of diuretics, beta blockers, increase toxicity. They also increase toxicity of phenytoin, digoxin, and sulfonamides. Okay, now coming to contraindications: hypersensitivity to NSAIDs. If someone is having, they should not be given this diclofenac. Asthma, and also the patients suffering from asthma, and moreover, as they are again inhibiting the prostaglandin synthesis, so again, and they should not be given to gastrointestinal tract patients, the patients which are suffering from infection or ulceration of gastrointestinal tract, and moreover cardiovascular disease patients. Drug interactions: increased action of digoxin, lithium, increased action of oral anticoagulants. Now coming to sixth category, that is oxycam derivatives. In this we have piroxicam. It is a long action non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. It is effective antipyretic analgesic drug with anti-inflammatory properties. Pharmacokinetics: peak concentration 2 hours, metabolize in liver, excreted in urine. Uses: acute musculoskeletal disorders, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, gout. Side effects are vomiting, nausea, anorexia, jaundice, dry mouth, cramps, diarrhea, etc. These all are the side effects. Drug interactions: increased action of sulfonamides, phenytoin, warfarin. Contraindications: hypersensitivity, pregnancy, asthma, lactation, hypertension, liver disease, kidney disease, children below age 6 years, heart diseases, heart disease patients, and ulcerations. Next, seventh group is, that is indole derivatives. In this we have indomethacin. It is a strong non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. It promptly acts as antipyretic. It relieves inflammation of tissue injury related pain. It is an odorless, tasteless, yellow brown crystalline powder. It is lightly soluble in water. Now coming to pharmacokinetics: orally onset of action is 1 hour, peak plasma concentration is achieved at 3 hours, half life is 1 to 113 hours. Metabolized in liver, excreted in urine, crosses placenta, excreted in breast milk. Uses: what are the uses? Acute gouty arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis not controlled by aspirin, alkalizing spondylitis, and Bright's syndrome. Side effects are neurotoxicity, hematuria, oliguria, vomiting, nausea, anorexia, diarrhea, flatulence, cramps, dry mouth, etc. These all are the side effects. Coming to drug interactions, it has increased action of phenytoin, sulfonamides, decreased action of triamterene, It uses not it should not be administered with antacids. Contraindications: hypersensitivity, asthma, renal disease, hepatic disease, ulcers, decreased pregnancy, lactation. Now coming to miscellaneous drugs. Nimesulide, it is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug which acts as antipyretic and analgesic, anti-inflammatory. It is absorbed rapidly and completely when given orally. Uses: what are the uses? Osteoarthritis, low back pain, dental pain, ENT inflammation, rheumatoid arthritis, and dysmenorrhea, musculoskeletal disorders. Side effects are vomiting, nausea, heartburn, epigastric pain, skin rash, pruritus, um, dizziness, and headache. Contraindications: hypersensitivity, ulcer disease, hepatic disease, pregnancy, lactation. Now, one of the drug we have to uh, discuss, that is ibuprofen. It is a synthetic drug. It was introduced in medicines in 1969. It is used as antipyretic, analgesic, and anti-inflammatory. It is administered orally. Action: it inhibits prostaglandin synthesis by decreasing enzyme secretions required for biosynthesis. It acts as antipyretic, analgesic, and anti-inflammatory. Pharmacokinetics: orally onset action 30 minutes, peak concentration 1 to 2 hours, plasma half life 2 to 4 hours. Excreted: it is excreted in urine, metabolized in liver. Uses: antipyretic, analgesic, rheumatoid arthritis drug, as a rheumatoid arthritis drug, osteoarthritis, dysmenorrhea, acute gout, dental pain, tooth extraction, post operation, postpartum. Side effects: vomiting, nausea, jaundice, dry mouth, cramps, purpura, rash, sweating, and blood. What are contraindications of ibuprofen? Hypersensitivity, asthma, active peptic ulcers, pregnancy, lactation, renal disease, hepatic disease. Okay. Now coming to one of the special categories, that is selective COX-2 inhibitors. Okay. So short form for this we can call it COX-1BS, and the drug which comes under this category, that is siloxib. So it is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug which has COX-2 cyclooxygenase 2 selectivity. It is useful in the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis. It is used again in osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. Its side effects are abdominal pain, dyspepsia, mm, headache, diarrhea, rhinitis, sinusitis. Drug interactions: siloxib with aspirin or other NSAIDs may increase occurrence of stomach and intestinal ulcers. Fluconazole increases concentration of siloxib. Then contraindications: hypersensitivity to NSAIDs. Children below 18 years of age may show hepatic disease symptoms. Now next is in the same category, that is peroxib. It is an NSAID used for short term treatment of post operative pain. It is a prodrug of valdecoxib. It acts by inhibiting the cyclooxygenase 2 prostaglandin synthesis. Uses short term treatment of post operative pain. Contraindications: hypersensitivity, pregnancy, lactation, coronary bypass graft surgery. Okay, now over here we have one definition of antipyretic drugs. Okay, what are antipyretics? These are the drugs which reduce elevated body temperature and NSAIDs. This definition is important, that's why we have given at the end. Antipyretics are the drugs which reduced elevated body temperature. NSAIDs, non-inflammatory, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs reduce body temperature in fever, which does not cause hypothermia. They does not lower normal body temperature. The pyretics are not useful in fever due to heat stroke. External cooling lowers body temperature in case of heat stroke, whereas they are effective for fever of any origin. The drugs described as NSAIDs act as antipyretics, analgesics, and anti-inflammatory. Okay, so this was the proper definition of antipyretics. With this, we have finished our lecture, sixth lecture.